guys, it's Sunny Orvi, and by the title of the video I am back with another story time. Like, y'all, I am so lucky to honestly still be alive, as you can see by the title of the video. So yeah, you guys, let's get started with this. I was 17 years old when this freaking incident took place. I'm gonna give you guys the background of that whole freaking day. I remember, okay, so it was either May 7th or May 9th 2010, and I think I had school that day. I don't remember, but I know I didn't go to school if I had school. But that day I had planned to run away and or kill myself. Yeah, like, yeah. A little bit beforehand, I found out that my boyfriend at the time cheated on me by his granny, and his name was Michael. He wanted to see me, but I didn't have a car nor anyone to take me down there, and I didn't really want to see him. I think I agreed to seeing him. He lived an hour away in Greensboro, but yeah, he had a Nintendo 64 that he had left at my house, and he said I could have it. So I had planned to use that money that I get from the pawn shop to go wherever I wanted to go. For some reason, I was obsessed with going to California, so in my mind I was going to go there or once again either kill myself. But yeah, so I walked to the pawn shop, and mind you, from the area that I lived to the pawn shop, the distance was like it was honestly like 7 minutes away driving, but walking obviously is longer. Well, midway of me walking there was this older gentleman. He asked me if I needed a ride, and he was just like, "You need a ride?" And I was like, sure. I would, y'all, when I would walk and when people say, "Hey, you need a ride," I would get in their car like a fucking idiot. So I had the Nintendo 64, the controller, and a few games in my backpack, and I had my stuff my stuff bear with me as well. So obviously I was fucking young, like the fuck. And I remember he drove a truck, and he was a white older man. He looked like he was about 60 years old, and his name was either Jerry or Terry. And when I got in the car, and he was like, "What's your name?" And I said, "My name is Yoshi." That was my nickname back in the day. And he was like, "Yoshi? Oh, okay. My name's Terry or Jerry." And I was like, "Okay, cool." He was like, "Well, where are you going?" And I said, "I'm just going to the pawn shop up the road." He was like, "Oh, okay, I'll take you there." And then just randomly, he was just like, "Yeah, you look good. You look good. You look like you like to get your pussy eaten out too. I love black women. You look like your pussy's good." And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I wasn't camming then, and I mean, I was very shy, I remember, but I felt like, oh Lord, this fool's gonna do something dumb to me. And I did get low-key scared, but he didn't touch me or anything. Like, he just kept, you know, hinting on like, "You trying to fuck?" And he asked me if I was a prostitute, and I was like, "No sir, I'm not a prostitute." He was like, "Oh, okay." I mean, he's like, "Wait, have you ever thought about it?" And I was like, "No sir, no sir." And then he asked me how old I was, and I told him I was 17. He was like, "Oh, you're young, I know you're tight." And I was like, oh my god. And I asked him how old he was, and I don't really remember, but from remembering what he looked like, he had to have been about 50, late 50 or 60s. And he pulled into the pawn shop, and he was like, "Well, hey, do you need a ride back?" And I was like, "No sir, no sir, I'll walk back." He was like, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "I'm positive, thank you sir." And luckily he did drive away. But I went in the pawn shop, and I asked them how much will they take for this Nintendo, 2 controllers, and some games. Tell me how they wasn't trying to take the Nintendo 64 system, but they were just trying to take the games. And I was like, what kind of sense is that? Like, how are y'all not taking the system? And they was like, oh, we just don't take the systems. Da, da, da. I don't remember necessarily why they couldn't take it, but I told them that I'll just pass, and I wouldn't sell it. So I walked back to my house. Mind you, there was another man who asked me if I wanted to ride, another white older gentleman, and he asked me what was I doing walking, and I told him I was trying to sell something, and he was like, what are you trying to sell? And I was like, this Nintendo 64. He was like, oh. It was like he got disappointed when I said Nintendo 64. And he told me his daughters went to the same school as me, but they were younger, and I told him that I didn't know who they were. But he dropped me off at the beginning of my road. And yeah, I remember I wrote a note, like a suicide letter, to my mom and everything that day. And for some reason, I went to my old aunt's house. I don't know why I did, but something was telling me to go there, because I was, for some reason, like I was really going to kill myself that day. Like I don't know like what made me go to my old aunt's house, but I knocked on the back door and nobody answered, because we would always knock at the back door because she didn't like nobody walking through her living room. So yeah, and then I remember I was walking back to my house. Well, I was walking down the driveway to my old aunt's house because I was just going to go back home and kill myself. And then I heard the door open, and it was the front door, the door that my aunt would never allow for us to go through it. And that day I was raped. Yeah, so I guess God was like, honey, we would rather you get raped than you kill yourself. So that day was very crazy. It was very crazy. And yeah, so I guess like God was just letting me know, like through me trying to kill myself and like trying to sell the damn Nintendo 64 and thinking, well, having 2 men think that I was a prostitute. Like I guess God was just telling me, hey, you know, something is going to happen. But yeah, but hopefully you guys found this tad bit helpful, I guess, and I shall see you guys next video. Bye. He can't leave you.